The wilds of Dota 2 can be an extremely dangerous place, inhabited by a slew of unique but highly territorial and fierce creatures. The fastest and easiest way to predict the behaviors and danger levels of creatures you encounter are, of course, their profile pictures. Profile pictures, much like colors in nature, can give away many indicators of behavior. Much like a brightly colored frog will indicate to predators that it is poisonous, Dota populations can also display a wide variety of warnings and information based on their chosen profile picture, like the highly toxic Pickle Rick. This guide will serve as a quick identification guide for players so that you will be able to identify with ease and certainty who is a predator or even a potential friend. Let us begin. Loneliness Fortunicus, the girl profile picture. The girl profile picture is one of the largest species in the wilds of not just Dota 2, but the entire animal kingdom of Steam, second only to the mysterious but ever-prevalent question mark. What makes the girl profile picture special is not its massive population, but interestingly, the diverse subspecies of the girl pictures and the inherent personality traits that each one can represent. While the species as a whole may share some common characteristics, such as being genuinely frustrated both sexually and in-game, the levels of competency are vast within the subspecies. Let's take a look. First, the real girl picture. This is a picture of a real girl's face. Maybe it's a model, maybe it's a famous actress, maybe it's their girlfriend. Nah, I'm just kidding. But the just a girl's face subspecies is typically a sigh of relief. These players are desperate to seek a lady and are relatively lonely, but not so much that it has made them insane or depraved, losing touch with the basics of social contracts. No, these players might be lonely, sexless nerds, but they do still have hope for one day returning to society, meaning that they will typically be average players. They might still go outside, still socialize, and maybe just play video games in their off time. On the other side of the coin are the sexy, full-body girl profile players. These players have lost all sense of society and have basically become gamer versions of being feral. Spent so long in the jungles of Dota, they have truly forgotten what a real female might look like, and instead opt to the idealized image of their Instagrammed photoshopped model representations. This is inherently the most dangerous of the girl picture species, prone to outbursts of rage, prone to states of confusion, and prone to long pauses as their mothers bring them down tendies. Be cautious of the sexy girl profile picture, and remember this general rule: the more revealing, the worse they're probably gonna play. Should there be straight up nudity in the profile picture, a naked mole rat has probably spent more time in the sun than your teammate, and they will play much like a mole rat can. Now is when it gets complicated. Anime girl. The same rules apply, whereas a random anime girl face will be better than sexy full-body anime girl, but be warned, the anime subspecies will typically play worse than their real girl counterparts. You can be sure that they will be listening to their favorite anime show credits playlist at max volume, or watching Crunchyroll during their deaths, more likely during essential parts of the game, such as high ground defenses and when they get bored, which is a great segue into our next species, the anime profile picture. Oh, but one note. If it looks like a 14-year-old anime girl, and most of them will, prepare for the worst and call the police. Kawaiiacus weeaboo, the anime profile picture. Again, this is one of the most popular species, and with an insane amount of subspecies within. However, we will only cover the most prominent. A general rule for this species is that the more you can recognize the anime character, the worse the player will naturally be. There are nearly unlimited amounts of disgusting anime to watch, despite most of them being pedophilic. And if the creature you are hoping to identify has chosen the most basic of them all to represent themselves, it typically shows for a lack of creativity and a general need of acceptance in their online forum communities. As such, when you see a profile with Dragon Ball Z, One Punch Man, or this fucking, I don't even know what this is, but I know the weebs like it, you can already surmise that this will most likely be a support player. They will listen to you. They will try their best. However, their best is probably not good. If it was, they would be watching animes without the dubs, wouldn't they? Now, for a rarer breed. If you see an anime profile picture with a character you have never seen or heard of before, especially if you do watch anime, you have found a true anime warrior. These players will typically play carry, demand tangos, pulls, etc. They will consider themselves elite predators, but unfortunately for you, this is rarely the case. This perceived elitism makes them especially prone to tilting, raging, and genuinely doing game-throwing behavior. These players will sometimes have perfect games where they are the clear MVP, but more often than not, their lifetime of farming will be destroyed by the simplest mistake an ally makes. Much like their online debates in the comments sections of the animes they are pirating on live streaming websites, their battles will be long, inevitably pointless, and embarrassing to those looking in. And finally, the elites. These are the hardcore anime nerds that have taken the samurai lifestyle and transposed it into their in-game wars. Their profile pictures are typically of Dota 2 characters in anime form, have self-drawn their own specific anime character, or will just have some sort of symbol or Japanese letter. These fellows live and die by the sword and fedora, and will typically fight you until the end. You won't hear them speak on the microphone, but you will see a missing middle ping and feverish use of the chat wheel. A good samurai does not speak or argue, merely fights. I mean, they're not going to be like, good, but when it comes to anime profile pictures, you're basically picking between a kick in the nuts or a punch in the face, so you take what you can get. Arigato, senpai. But anime is not the only cartoon that you may see. Do they have a popular reaction face image? Do they have a character from the show SpongeBob? Or perhaps an outdated meme that was so popular long ago, most think it was a picture of their actual cat? Well then, my friend, you have a memer. Memers are one of the more volatile groups that you may encounter. Typically, they will enjoy their games and have a few laughs, but unfortunately, these laughs are mostly at their own expense. The memer is not going to be a good player by any means, but they will certainly perceive themselves as one of the good players on the team and will communicate accordingly. Their general high self-worth, as they consider themselves quite dank, will typically lead to overextensions and misplays that are quickly shrugged off. Expect the memer to have the most deaths on the team, but also expect them to make a montage of your game and show only the parts that they did well with ironic dubstep to post to our Dota 2 New to receive 4 upvotes. Smile, you're probably on camera, and you're probably going to lose. Moving away from animation and cartoons, we enter the realm of the very real. Boomicus Creativeless, the selfie profile picture. Does the player in your game have a picture of just some guy, clearly taken from a phone from 2012? Well, I have something very disturbing to share with you. That is probably the actual dude that you are playing with. When these players are asked to give a creative names for their gamer tags, they will put their first and last name and then a random string of numbers at the end because their generic name has already been taken. In the description section, they will put their real name, maybe even their actual phone number. In a world where you can be anything you want to be, these species have chosen to remain as Gary Smith from Ontario, Canada. These are not creative players, and what they lack in imagination they will make up for in tortellini guides. These creatures will play as if they have seen people playing on Twitch for thousands of hours. These creatures will play the same hero thousands of times. Most of the time, they will be against bots. These creatures will be so unremarkable, so unnoticeable, that when the post screen has them as the honorable mention, you won't even have remembered that they were in the game. Which is probably good, because if they did anything of relevance to be noticed, they would probably get their identities stolen. You know, offlaners. But you know, like Underlord and Dragon Knight playing offlaners. And now, a step up. A player not with their real-world face, but a picture with their name, or even a custom-created logo. These people are the opposite of their cousins, and you won't ever not know these people are in your games. The constant talking, the constant plays, the never-ending pressure. These animals are out to become the next big thing, and they will happily tell you why you are not. It's their show, and they know how to run it. This game is their life. Are they being ganked? You'll know from the all-chat voice comms every single time. Did you make any form of mistake? Well, here's some advice. Unwanted advice, but here you go. However, with all this talking, with all this showboating and commanding of the troops, the sad fact is they will play just as good as you, if not worse. Your 50 minutes of being part of their unsanctioned live stream has little reward. But hey, they will communicate. Probably too much. It is best to mute them. With these rather benign, sometimes even friendly creatures out of the way, it's time to explore the dangerous animals. The ones to avoid, even more so than anime profile pictures. First, the great question mark. Is this a new player, too greenhorn to set up their Steam account? Or is this a smurf, too ashamed that they are single-handedly killing the game they love to give an identity to their bastard child? An account booster who is raising a calf to be eventually slaughtered in Immortal and sent back to Ancient 2 where it belongs. That is the horror of the question mark. Truly, no one knows. This player might be the one that goes 20-0, or the only thing that they say throughout the entire game is, what is the jump button? Their profile says that they have been playing since 2010. The question mark rightly strikes fear into the hearts of all gamers, for it represents the void itself, the greatest uncertainty. The question mark is going mid. Will I suffer, or will they flourish? The answer? It's always pain. Should it be a smurf or a booster, your win is the eventual downfall of Dota 2. Should it be a newbie, thanks to the new player experience coming out in 2040, they have literally no hope of ever improving. Should it be a person with 10k hours who is too stupid to pick a fucking profile picture already, avert your eyes, should you catch whatever brain disease they may be spreading. But the question mark has nothing on the next danger. The private profile. The private profile can be any of the above. It could be an anime chick, a logo, or even a question mark. The private profile is never a good sign. No one is making their profile private so people can't look up their favorite heroes or common picks and bans. No, it's private because they are bad. Perhaps a lifetime of being invited to Steam groups called You're a Dumbass and I Hate You, or perhaps it's pages and pages of this guy's a terrible faceless void that remain undeleted from 3 years ago. The private profile is the sign of a coward. Too afraid to expose their Dota buff, too afraid to come into the light. These players will mute all other players as soon as they get into the game, wrap themselves in a security blanket, and proceed to feed relentlessly. Some of your favorite players and personalities might have private profile pictures, and you can assume this is for identity protection. But the sad fact of the matter is, they just don't want you to see how many hours they have on their dating simulator games. Never trust a man who has something to hide. And finally, our most dangerous creature. A game stomper who isn't a smurf or an account booster. Someone that Valve hasn't actually helped exist for the last 10 years. This is the dedicated Dota fan. The profile picture? It's just a Dota hero. Just a picture of their face from in-game. Perhaps it's drawn by them. Perhaps, God forbid, it's just the Dota 2 symbol. Their in-game name is a hero's name, or even more terrifying, a pun on a hero for some sort of obscure lore reference. This is the player that spams the all-chat laugh command and says thanks after every last hit. These are the apex Dota nerds. They have no personality anymore. They don't bring a picture into Dota. Dota has taken so much of their life, their identity has become the Dota picture. These people are gone. They're in the code of the game now. And the best part? You're probably gonna beat them. You see, when the guy who has a bounty hunter profile picture and who has named himself Gondar is playing Crystal Maiden, well, guess what? He's gonna be terrible. When 2 girls 1 puck dream coils you, he's going to get silenced because the mistake they made was aligning their souls with that of Dota. And Dota itself is pain, disappointment, and punishment. There is no greater punishment than losing to a noob like you. The time has finally come. Look at yourself. Are you one of these creatures that we have covered? Is your profile pic mentioned, or did I miss it? Well, leave a comment below. You may have noticed that I never said any of these players were good. Well, that's because in the Dota 2 wilds, everyone is bad. This is Dota fam, you suck, and so do I. And that is the realest profile picture of all.